Well, good evening, everybody. Josiah here. Today we are going to be having some fun with finding products, and if you don't recognize this screen, don't worry. This is just a software we use, and not everybody that pays attention to these videos. Where'd it go? It disappeared. There it is. Not everybody that watches my videos has access to seven-figure cycle software. That's okay. There's other, software out there that will essentially do the same thing, typically for a monthly subscription or a large upfront fee. So anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to look at products on Amazon. I've got a supplier loaded up here, and we're just going to decide, and I'm going to walk through some of my reasoning. Obviously, if you hear the dogs around, that's because I'm doing this from home. My wife's working late, and I'm like, what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to sit here and make a video for y'all, because that's just what we do. First thing we're going to do is we're going to set profit. We're going to set profit at $2 minimum. The reason I'm saying $2 versus $1 is most of y'all, if you're having somebody else prep your product, you're going to have product prep costs, and so a $2 profit by the time you figure in prep costs and inbound shipping and whatnot is going to be more like $1 of profit, and that'll be realistic. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust this return on investment, and we're going to move it up to about 20%. Usually I don't even look at products that are at 20%. I want to go much higher than that. I want something that's going to give me a 50% return on investment. But for the sake of the exercise, I'm doing this and expanding my parameters just a little bit from what I normally do. Normally I'd probably set this at 25 or 30, but I want to find some products to be good examples for you guys, because really it comes down to what you're going to see on Amazon and best judgment, and it's really a judgment call. The other end we're going to adjust down, probably to we'll say there. The reason I adjust that one down is the higher ROI products are most likely going to be ASIN mismatches, UPC code mismatches, where it might be a multi-pack instead of a single pack. Why does it keep doing that? So that's where we're going to set that. Units a month, we don't really care. Margin, we're going to change this. So right now we're at 196 products. That's a lot of products. We don't want to look at all of those. I'm going to bump this margin up to about a 15% margin and see what that does on the products. So it dropped 50 products off. Units per month, we are going to change this up to about 9. Reason I want to do that, see, we dropped off a few more products. You know what, because we're still looking at 100 products, I am going to bump this up a little more. That didn't change much. We're going to adjust these and tighten them up a bit. There we go. So now we're looking at 80 products. That's still going to take a big chunk of time, but we're not going to go through all of them. We are just going to figure out some that we can carry, and we're going to go from there. So, that's the thing. Just because it pulls back everything doesn't mean you have to buy everything. And what we're going to filter for is we're going to sort everything on profit per month. Now this, you don't have to do it this way. I just like to do it this way because then I can figure out exactly, how much money I'm making. I want to economize my time the most part. Notice this one right here, the product, it has in parentheses 2-pack. That's a multi-pack. That's not what we're looking for. And, we're just going to ignore it because I can almost guarantee you that we'd buy it in a 1-pack, and this 98% ROI would actually be a 2% loss if we actually did the 2-pack. Now, we're going to start at the top here. Smart Tie Products, Safe Clip. First thing we're looking at is price. Rank, 23,000. Our price is at $30. Fees, our product cost. And we just want to make sure that the information we're seeing seems legitimate. So our product cost is $15. We've got a SKU. There's 2 sellers. So far everything, it doesn't seem out of whack as far as like a 2-pack. I might pull up a 2-pack just to show you guys how that would look different. So, our, let's see, unit metrics. Our price is 30, fees, product cost. So on this product, we've got 15, and then the change is 16, so that's 22, and it's selling for 30. So it's a 50% ROI. That's reasonable. We're going to click on the Amazon to see what comes up here. Smart Type products, the Safe Clip. This is a 1-pack. There's only one showing here. That's what we want to see. We have somebody at 29, which is a little different than this shows. Okay, so that's just things that change over time. But we have 2 products, 2 sellers. This guy is actually an FBM product, which I'm surprised that he has the buy box over this FBA. Typically FBA will have the buy box most of the time. Oh, this is backordered, that's why. As soon as this, so backordered is when when the stuff gets into Amazon's warehouse, it's fulfilled by Amazon. They've received it, but they haven't sent it to all the distribution centers that are actually going to be carrying and shipping the product. So right now it's in that strange state, and it'll be there for like 2 or 3 days. It says back in stock April 9th, so that's 6 days away, 5 days or something. And usually that estimate is horrendously over. I've ordered stuff that's back ordered, and it's supposed to be in stock on a specific day, and they ship it out a day later because it showed up where they wanted it to. But once this gets back in, this guy is going to be the only person here. Now, looking at this product, I really like the product except for one thing, and you may have noticed it. It has good ROI. I don't say my R is necessarily the right way, but that's okay. Y'all can deal with it. What I scroll down and look at on reviews, I just want to see that reviews are happening. I don't care what they say. I don't care what star rating. I just want to see that we have reviews and they're happening on a fairly consistent basis, because that tells me there are sales. Now to the big thing that I think most people don't interpret correctly, and that's Keepa data. So with this one, it's pretty straightforward. I'm not going to buy it because Amazon fell off the listing yesterday, and they were on the listing for the entire year previously. So they're most likely momentarily out of stock. This is something I might keep an eye on, though, and maybe order in another month or 2 if Amazon stays off the listing. But personally, I would not buy this because Amazon has just been on it. The other thing I look at, Amazon, obviously, we want to make sure we're not buying stuff and then competing directly with them. It's supposed to be a symbiotic relationship. So the price just went up. That's great. What I notice here is the green line, the sales rank, and we're going to hover over this to highlight it just a little bit. And really what I want to see is I want to see a consistent sales rank range. What I'm talking about is, if you notice, this stays pretty well between a sales rank of 30,000, and on the top end, ignore this one little peak, between 30,000 and 100,000. That's a fairly wide range, but it stays consistent. Anything over 100,000, you're going to start to see sales just kind of fade out. There's not going to be that many sales. There's not going to be enough of them to carry decent volume for you. Volume is a forgiver of many sins when it comes to selling product, because if I make a bad purchasing decision and the volume is good, I can still get back most of my money. If I make a bad purchasing decision and there's no volume on the product, I am going to be sitting on that product for a long time, and it's going to come back to bite me. My money's going to be tied up for a long time. The last thing I do on a product, and this is kind of a little bit of an afterthought, Profit Hunter has a sales estimator, but I always like to have multiple data points. So, I'll look at the data in Keepa as far as, a range of BSR. After you're in a category for a while, you'll kind of get a feel for, what a average of 60,000 BSR is going to run in that category as far as number of sales. And so you can just look at Keepa and say this is going to sell this many units. Market Intelligence is another good estimator, and they're saying the sales are 29 for a month. If we go over here to 7-figure cycle, their sales, they're estimating a few more sales per month. 3,000 at, yeah, so they're estimating a lot more. Actually, no, let's see. Yeah, they're estimating 100 sales a month, approximately, at $30. That's rough math in my head. So we have an estimate of 100 sales, we have an estimate of 30 sales. Ultimately, for me, Keepa is the deal breaker, and it's personal judgment. And that's just experience is going to give you that. With this product, it's in the pet niche, right? Pet supplies. I do some work in this. I'd say the 30 is probably closer to accurate, just from my own personal experience. I could be way off too. And if we look a year back, well, it's been about the same. It stays right about, 60 on average if you cut all these things across. I'd say it holds, that 60-ish, maybe 70 on average. And to me, that reads probably in this category 30 to 50 a month. So, to say we were doing this, I wouldn't do it just because Amazon's been on until yesterday. But they stay off it, we'll keep, we'll look at it. I'm going to look at this one. It says it's a 2-pack, but I want to show you what it's different. So the first thing I notice is the picture. We have 2 bottles. Usually it doesn't come packaged from the manufacturer in 2 bottles. Okay, that's your first clue. Product cost is pretty significant though, $44, $45, and the price is $95. And fees are really significant too. We don't really have, so the supplier's name for it is a 2-pound powder thing, and I'll betcha if we look on here, these are 2-pound jugs, and there's 2 of them. I was hoping this would be a hover over. You'll have to just believe me. That's a 2-pound right there. So, you got to keep your eye out for these things. They'll catch you by surprise, and they'll really make for bad customer service because you'll ship them in thinking, you found a winning product, when really it's just a 2-pack instead of the 1-pack that it's supposed to be. So, next thing. Okay, first thing we notice, it is 1 item. There's 1 seller. Stop the Pain, K9, it's a quote. And it's currently sold via FBM. I think I know why. And I'll let you know here in a second. So, I may be off on this. I may be wrong. I've been wrong before. Okay, there's a couple of reasons for this discrepancy. This is a quart, and it's a quart of liquid. Amazon doesn't necessarily care to have a lot of liquids around in their warehouse, especially ones that, could have stuff that messes with other items in their warehouse if it spills. I don't know what's in this, but that could theoretically be the case on this product. The other thing I noticed, so here's a different Keepa chart. If you look at the BSRs, notice instead of having the adjustments along here of 50, 75, 100, 125, 150, or 50, 100, 150, whatever the last one was. I think I actually have it up. Yeah, so 50, 100, 150. This one, we go straight 100,000, 200,000, 300,000. What that tells me, combined with how this green line kind of arches out like this, is there weren't any sales in all of this time. So from February up until March, according to Keepa, there wasn't any sales because the BSR just kept going up and up and up. The higher the BSR number, the worse it sells. So you want this number as close to 0 as possible. The other thing we can look at this is we can tell how many sales are going, especially on slow products like this. You can even have a lot faster products in a larger niche that really crank out, and you can really count how many sales a month just based on the Keepa data, because it tracks the Keepa data and it's moving so quickly back and forth, because it's right on that edge of no sales a day to 1 or 2 sales a day, and it'll bounce incredibly quickly, and you'll be able to say there's 15 sales in the last month, or X number of sales. It's the same thing, it'll just look a lot more compressed than what this is. So we can say, okay, each dip in the BSR is going to be a sale, and as long as the Keep has been tracking the BSR data correctly, which it usually is, I tend to trust it fairly decently. We can count and say, okay, there were 2 sales in March, there were 2 sales in February. Back in September we had a whole bunch of sales, and then we had, 1 every month or so. So that, to me, doesn't merit enough volume to actually carry this item, especially when our product cost is, 21. Fees are going to be 9, so that's 30. So there's $15 of profit. But for 1 sale a month, like I said, volume is kind of a forgiver of many sins. I wouldn't want to get stuck with this product. Also, it's liquid, and also it doesn't have any reviews. Not that that's a horrible negative, but I do like to see something going on with the reviews. So I'm not even going to check market intelligence, simply because Keepa tells me the data that I need, the way this BSR bounces around. It is an interesting thing, though. The more the BSR bounces, the wider those bounces on the bottom end to the top end, the worse off the estimate is going to be. Actually, according to what we were looking at with Keepa and market intelligence, the sales are, spot on. They say 2. We were looking at Keepa. I said 2 this month, or for the month of March. Let's see, sales. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily give a ton of merit to that because it's 30. They're estimating 35, just under 40 because it's a 45 price. Yeah, probably 30 sales a month. So I'd say 2. But that's my personal judgment. Number next. So this is double mist sprayer, 1 liter. We look at supplier info just to look at what it is. Supplier name matches. There's no little parentheses next to the Amazon name that says 2-pack. Look at our metrics, our price, 15, product cost. This might really be a nice winner, 19,000 in pet supplies. So it has some volume. Currently sold by 1 FBA person, 96 reviews. I just look at number of reviews, and once again, just looking at making sure that we have some volume going on, which we do. We have several reviews coming in every month, which tells me that this thing is actually, selling. And if you notice, once again, this is probably the closest. Now compare this Keepa to this Keepa chart. as far as BSR to this Keepa chart as far as BSR. You know, this one, if we zoomed in, yeah, back to the 3 months, you know, we're going from 25,000 all the way up to 100,000, with most of the time spent between 30 and 100. This has better sales in that most of the time the BSR lives between 25,000 and 70,000 as a max. Just trim off the outlying 5% and just figure out where that range is. This is a much tighter range, and here kind of the median is probably going to be in the 40,000 range, which is significantly better than this one. And you can see that it's getting better data too. For this one, there's sometimes a few days between when it picks up data, whereas this one it's much shorter, flat points. There's a lot more fluidity, and really all that is, Keepa checks the BSR on products when somebody that has the Keepa extension on their computer. As far as I understand, I may be completely off. My understanding is Keepa checks the BSR of a product when somebody that has Keepa on the on Chrome looks at the product. So they'll go, okay, here's tagging these products as everybody that has Keepa on their computers look at the product, because BSR is something that is publicly available. And I could be way off. They could also be plugged into the API and pulling product info that way too. But here's the bestseller rank. It's something that's very public. Amazon's just willing to put that out there, and so we can use it. But because this has a much tighter range, I suspect that our sales estimate tools are going to be a lot closer. And like I said, the closer that range of top to bottom average BSR is, the better your estimates are going to be. And this one says we've got 84 sales. Let's go back to here, see what our estimate is. So 2015, so that's still 130. Yeah, 130. So that's still significantly different, but they're a lot closer. You notice it's 84 to 130 versus 20 to 100. The percentage is a lot more. It's 50% more versus 500% more. So they're getting closer in estimates, and that's what happens the closer the BSR bounce on this Keepa data. So if you're wondering, okay, I've got several estimate tools and they're all coming back with different results, it all has to do with how they interpret the BSR rank throughout the month. And there's no 100% guaranteed way of finding a good estimate. It's anybody's best guess. As time progresses, estimates get better, and what I mean by that is new tools come out, and what was really cutting edge, 1 year, somebody figures out a slightly better algorithm, a slightly better way to calculate it, and it's a better estimate. Okay, but anyway, back to the product. So far this thing checks out. Amazon is not on it. They've never been on it. It's just a bottle. It's an empty spray bottle. So, that's pretty cool. Our pricing that we look at, I look at these little diamonds of buy box price. If you notice, sometimes it does drop down to $10, which if we look at our cost here and our unit metrics, that's knocking $5 off of this. That'll knock off a little bit in the fees just because of Amazon's 15% referral fee. So that'll drop our fees down to, we're just going to say $5 for rounding. So, a product cost of $6.50, that's going to be $11.50 for us. We couldn't sell this if the price dropped to $9.95. If it stays up at even, 15.21, right now it's at 13.64, we could make $2 profit per unit at 13.64. And the price difference, that's just the day. Yesterday it was 15.61, and it was probably 15.61 earlier today. So that's a new price, somebody that just came on. And we're also going to look, because there are 9 sellers, we want to make sure that they're all accurate. So this is probably why somebody came on here, probably this guy, because he's back ordered, so he's the new guy on this listing. These guys were living happily at $15. This guy came on today, and in a bid to get the buy box, well, he's still back ordered, because they're not going to shove him a third of the way into the buy box or whatever when the product isn't readily available. In a bid to get the buy box, he dropped his price, and so everybody else followed him down. So ultimately, moral of that story is a little bit of patience really helps. I want to see how long I'm making this video. Okay, we're getting pretty long here. But, such is life. I'm here by myself. If you guys want to bounce out or whatever, I don't care. I'm just going to keep going on these products because, for me, this is fun. Although I did leave my water in the kitchen. That's okay. So with this product, a $6.50 product cost, and, say, knock $2 off it, so we'd have $1.50 to $2. Yeah, probably $2 after you figure in a fewer fees of profit. $2 product cost of $6.50. That's kind of worth it to me. We're getting a 30% ROI, but that's before prep costs. So you're gonna end up with $1 after prep costs. It's still $1. Make $1. The other question we have to ask is how many we can sell. Currently there are, this one's not Prime, but it's fulfilled by Amazon. I suspect that it will show up as, Prime in a minute. I could be wrong. But for now we're going to count these 3 sellers and just keep in the back of our mind that there could potentially be a 4th one. Now what I'm going to do, I like to play on the safe side when I order stuff. I'm going to pull up this, I said it was 80 some sales. So say there's 3, I'm going to be the 4th guy. Yeah, there was 80 there, now it's refreshing data, even though it doesn't need to. Gotta love tools. 80 sales, I'm going to be the 4th person, so I could take 20 sales. So, we do a lot of the prep ourselves. I could make, $1.50 a piece. Doing the prep myself, that's at 20 sales, that's, $30, $30 in a month that I wouldn't have otherwise. It's $30 sitting right there. For the sake of this discussion, I'm going to include it. So right off the bat, I'm not even going to look at this because it says right here, 2-pack. Okay, next one. 100% pure neat's foot oil. I've seen something like this before. 32 ounce, so that's a pint a pound, so that's a quart bottle of neat's foot oil. Cost is $4.57. This for some reason is an automotive, even though I'm pretty sure. Oh, it's an automotive because this is something that people use to polish leather. It's a leather softener and preserver, so people would use it on leather seats and stuff. That's why. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, product cost $4.50, profit, $3. That looks gorgeous. I live in this space, guys. You don't have to look at a bunch of expensive products. There's definitely a lot of money in expensive products. But I live in the $10 to $15 space. profit margins aren't as great, but you can get some amazing return on investment. What I would hesitate about this is sending it into Amazon. It's currently fulfilled by merchant. Before I buy this, I would make sure I could send in product into Amazon. Let's look at some of these. Oh, so right here, this diamond, that's a price of $11.95, and it's by FBA. So people have sent this into Amazon before, 1203 by FBA. That's FBA. So they have sent it into Amazon before. So hey, that works in our favor. Currently the price is at $14.82. Now if you notice down here, this blue line says the price is $11.49. That's because that blue line lies. Never trust the blue line. Okay? The blue line lies. We'll go over here and I will show you why. So that blue line is just reading the bottom offering price, not including shipping. So that person is actually offering, so what are there, 10 results on a page. That person is reading $11.49. Keepa is reading, oh, that's the bottom price, but they're not including this $8.80 that this person is charging in shipping. So in reality, that's like the 9th worst offer to sell this product. Now notice there is a prime here that's at $19.32. That's kind of expensive. You know, these other buy box offers, FBA, I don't know why they are selling it for so cheap. Because they could sell it for, you know, $15, probably $16. I don't know why this guy hasn't lowered his price. But then again, you know, I don't know what his supply is. It might not be as cheap as I'm thinking. So let's look. So here's another BSR. Notice how this range, up until this last little spike, let's ignore that for the moment. Anomalies happen when, you know, this is currently a FBM, so, you know, maybe all the FBA sellers just sold out, and so this is just a reaction to not having any FBA people. I know I'm a Prime member, and I prefer to buy stuff that's fulfilled by Amazon because I get my free 2-day shipping. That's, you know, opiate of the masses, I guess. 2-day shipping. Woohoo! Anyway, I'm in a salty mood today. I was staring at products all day. But if you notice, this ranges from 2,000, you know, pretty consistently here. At the top end, we're looking at 4,000, you know, 2,000 to 4,000. That's incredibly tight, especially when we compare it to this. And I said this was getting to be a decent BSR when it's 25 to 75. Now we're talking 2,000. So our estimates are probably going to be a lot closer together than before. And it's going to be this top one. This estimate's 323 sales, monthly revenue of 37, but this is at $11.50 price. Don't ask me why they're pulling that price. So 323 sales. If we go over here to this estimate, $14, $15. 2,100, so 100 sales, 150 sales. So this is actually lower this time, you know, and that may be because this is giving a little more weight to this bump right here that happened. I don't know. That's an algorithmic decision that, you know, the estimators behind the tools have figured out to try to get as close as they can. But I'd say that there's some decent volume there. Now the other thing you want to watch when you have a lot of different variations like this, when you're looking at estimates, is see if they're different BSRs or if they're the same BSR. See, these are all different, and that's you know, if they were the same BSR, we'd have to consider that in our sales and how the BSR gets split between different variations. Some categories just assign one BSR to everything, and any sale on any of the variations will affect the BSR, which means that it's really hard to guess how many sales there are on any one specific product. This makes it really nice because there's different BSRs, so we can tell exactly how fast these products are moving. And this one, with as quick as it's moving, I would probably stick with the market intelligence and say it's probably moving 300 units a month. At the same time, remember the last couple FBA points we have are at $12, but all the FBA are gone. And back here it was at, up here we have 14. Back here it was at 14, and now it's back to 1482, which is also, 1479. Now it's actually moved up a little bit. So this product, I would make sure that I could send it into FBA, but I would have no problem trying to sell this and rolling the dice on it. Because what's the worst that can happen? So there's $2.88 profits as is. That's a better than a 50% return on investment. And the downside is the price goes back down to that $12 range. So the worst that it could do is go back to that $12 range historically, and we'd essentially lose our profit, but we wouldn't lose our initial investment. And currently with an FBM, we could sell 300 units of this and make, after some prep fees, make $2 a pop. That's $600 in our pocket. So this is a great product. I'd want to add it to inventory and make sure I can send it into FBA first. But I'm going to include this thing. That's a really good product. So anyway, you probably get the idea now. There's a lot of stuff that I look at when I look at a product. It's not just simply opening it up, looking at it, mastitis test kit. These random things can really actually make a lot of money. I'm going to guess there's some chemicals in here. It's another one of those things you'd have to test and see if you can send it into FBA. Here's our BSR. This is another one that looks like it ranges between, 25 and 70,000 on average. Price used to be a little lower at 22.67, but that's by FBM. That's FBM. This looks like it's historically been FBM. I'm going to turn that on just for the fun of it. Are there any FBA? Looks like there were some FBA on here. Are they still on? No FBA. Okay. So there was an FBA person that was on this, according to Keepa. So, it might be something we can send in. Once again, you'd want to check that. You don't want to buy product and then not be able to send it in. There are reviews. For some reason, it's not letting me pull them up. There it goes. And then we look at our estimate. What's it saying? We know we've got a 25 to 75. And look at how this compares, 44 compared with the other product that was in that range. This one looks like it hung a little closer, down, and then this one it had like an 80. So, staying the closer they are, especially that top one, the further it is to it, just a smooth line with some little squigglies, the better sales you're going to get. So there's 40 sales according to this tool. Let's look over here, $30. So here they both agree, about 40 sales. This is, $30, $1,200. So, around 40 sales, they're both agreeing. That tells me that the data is probably pretty good, that they're both agreeing. Usually if there's a little bit of a difference, I'll kind of skew it toward the one that's underestimating, because I don't want to have too much inventory. And then we're just going to look, okay, decent. That price is still at $25.67. unit metrics. So the price dropped $5, so that would mean the profits dropped $5. But we can raise the price and still get the buy box as an FBA seller. Look at our supplier. Don't know what this means, but we do have CMT S12. Sometimes on these products you'll be able to look down here at an item model number and it'll help you too. I don't see that on here. Notice this reads, now you can't always guarantee that this is right. So it's a slightly bulkier product, a 6" by 10" by 3.5", but it's 4 ounces. You know, that's not that bad at all. So, you know, as long as I could send this in, I would totally sell this. Because I could take this price here, $25.67, I could bump that up to $28.29. I could spend $10 to buy a unit and make probably 7 or 8 back in profit. So, you know, my $10 would come back with an extra 7 tagging along. And it doesn't take many, you know, 30 a month or 40 a month. They both estimate 40 a month. I'd say it could do 40 a month. And currently it's all FBM, so I'd be the only FBA. I could probably sell 40 a month. Now I wouldn't do that to initially test it. I'd want to test and verify that the estimates are accurate. You know, that's the second half of this conversation. Just because there's an estimate doesn't mean it's accurate. You need actual hard data. The only way to get that is to buy the product and test it. So if you're on the fence going, I don't know, I'm uncertain, you just got to buy a product and test it. And some products you're going to lose money on. That's okay. Other products you're going to find out that the data is better off than you thought, and you're going to make way more money than you thought. And, you know, you just got to live with the swings and, you know, realize that, you know, sometimes losses happen, sometimes wins happen. You do enough of them and the wins are going to way outweigh the losses, and you're going to have an amazing business. I am going to shut this video down because it's getting really long, and I left my water in the kitchen and my throat's getting dry. So hope this has been helpful. I'm going to post it, probably email it out to y'all. Might send this on my Facebook group. I have no clue what I'm going to do with it, where I'm going to put it, but I'm going to put it somewhere so that y'all can find it and reference back to, you know, especially Keepa, you know, looking at what a good Keepa chart actually means, and, you know, the way to interpret the BSR data on the Keepa chart. You know, that's really, it'll get you so much further in your overall studies and, you know, buying good products. And ultimately that's what I want for you. I want you to get good products and make lots of money. When you do, come and let me know, because I'd really love to hear it. So that being said, wow, this video is long. You guys have a good night. We'll talk later.